If you're watching this video, you are watching it because you have already finished your mapping lab, challenge 1, and are now starting to check your work. We will be looking at the landforms and bodies of water from the physical features map. First thing that we want to make sure that we're doing is that we see that these are the physical features, and we notice that the physical features are represented with words on our map. Canadian Shield you see right here, the Great Plains, the Rocky Mountains, Appalachian Mountains, Great Basin, all of these words. Don't just pay attention to this elevation over here, but we also want to use these words and make sure that we look at things like the coastline. We look at things like peninsulas. We look at things around here like the Hudson Bay and make sure that we're looking at all of those different portions on there. You can find this map on page 558 in your book if you want to look along with it as you are going through your work. First one, number 1, the Rocky Mountains. You see that the Rocky Mountains run all the way from the northern tip of Alaska down all the way here into Texas. It is a long mountain range with many different portions. Notice the red here and the elevation change from orange to yellow and then green. Number 2, the Arctic Ocean. The Arctic Ocean is north of Canada, and we see that it is in all of this area. During the winter, this entire place will freeze, and this will become one solid block of ice. Number 3, the Appalachian Mountains. We can see that the Appalachian Mountains run from the southern portion near Georgia and Mississippi, and then are going all the way into New York. You can see the trees that we chose here. The Appalachian Mountains are a little bit different than the Rockies in that they look more as rolling hills, just with higher elevation changes. Number 4, the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Ocean is on the west coast of America. It is going to border Canada, or it is going to border Canada and the United States, California, Oregon, and all the way up into Washington. As I said, the Pacific Ocean is on the west coast of America. It is touching all of these 3 states, and it's a vast, vast ocean. Number 5, the Colorado River. You can see the Colorado River is running down into this area. The Colorado River is actually what carved out the Grand Canyon, as you can see in the picture here, the water over time, and it's actually the silt in the water that has been carrying through and carving out the mountains as it runs. The Canadian Shield. The Canadian Shield is up in here in Canada, and it's actually caused by the glacier that was moving across from north to south into America, and as it moved, it carved out all these huge grooves and channels throughout, which made the unique shape of that shield. Number 7, the Great Plains. We've talked about plains quite a bit, and the fact that they're a vast, flat land, usually with some sort of grassland. In America, we use these Great Plains in this area for all of our farming of wheat, corn, and other agricultural crops. Number 8, the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic Ocean is on the east coast of America, bordering all of the states along here. Now, again, even if we don't say, and even if we don't look at, even if it doesn't say on the map, we automatically know that this area right here is known as coastland. The Mississippi River, the largest river in America, has provided numerous amounts of transportation and has helped reshape especially this Midwest portion. Now you can see all the tributaries that are coming off in the Mississippi River in this picture, and the wide shape and the movement of how many directions that it changes. The Mississippi River comes all the way from Wisconsin and goes all the way down here to Louisiana. Number 10, the Great Basin. Notice the mountains surrounding this area, and you can see that it represented in the picture as well. The mountains represent, and it makes a bowl shape in the southwest corner of America. Mount McKinley, the highest peak in America, is in Alaska. We can see it here represented in a triangle. Here's a picture of Mount McKinley. There's a lot of interesting stories that go along with it, from the first person who climbed it that supposedly took a picture in this area, and it was a false summit. The summit of it is actually here. Number 11, Vancouver Island. So if we're looking for islands and you want to know the name of a specific island in an area, you need to go to your physical features map. This one is Vancouver Island. It is actually part of Canada. And you can see from here that it is very rocky, and you can see also coniferous trees here. So if we're looking at vegetation, it's going to make sense where it's at in relation to this equator because of the temperature variance and because of where it's located. Number 13, the Sierra Nevada. The Sierra Nevada is a mountain range that is near Nevada and into California. You can see the different shape of the mountains from what we looked at with the Appalachian. They're much more jagged. They're much higher. They look more of what we would probably consider a mountain range. Number 14, the Great Lakes. I always remember them as homes. Lake Huron, Lake Ontario, Lake Michigan, Lake Erie, and Lake Superior. These 5 Great Lakes make up the largest freshwater source in the world, and we are situated at the bottom portion of Lake Michigan here. Number 15, the Hudson Bay. The Hudson Bay. Hudson Bay is a little bit unique because it's the largest bay in the world. Many people would think that it would be considered a gulf. There's no real reason why this is considered a bay and this is considered a gulf. Generally speaking, a bay is much smaller, but Hudson Bay is surrounded by a lot of land, and I believe that's what actually makes it considered a bay. This is the largest harbor in Canada, and you can see a picture of it over here. A few other things to talk about. Peninsula. Again, we know that Florida is a peninsula in that it is surrounded by 3 sides with water. Again, it's not going to be labeled on there, but you should just know that we have a peninsula here. We have a peninsula here. All right. We have capes over here. These are capes because they're smaller. We have a cape over here because it's smaller. They don't need to be labeled. You know that because it's surrounded by 3 sides with water, it's either a cape or a peninsula. And there's your picture of a cape. This is Cape Cod. So at this point, you should have checked all of these. Make sure that you are in the right spots. Double check your longitude and latitude. And those are what they look like.